All right, folks, it is Friday Night Blitz Media Days as we get you ready for the 2023 season. And we're going to shine a spotlight on the crew from Lynchburg, the Liberty Christian Bulldogs, enjoying right now in his 18th year as head coach. But overall, you said your 20th year at Liberty Christian because you're
Correct.
the AD too.
Correct.
Frank Rocco. Coach Rocco, welcome, sir.
Great to be here. Thank you for all you do.
I tell you what, well, let's look at last year. You went 11-2, lost in the regional finals, but overall, I mean, year in, year out, your team's in the mix and making deep runs.
Yeah.
But just talk about last year and that year, because I know obviously it didn't end the way you wanted, but again, a good season.
Yeah, it was a great year, and we look back at the year as, you know, achieving our goals. Had some off the field. We had an injury. We had an off the field incident that took a player or two away, key players down the stretch that kind of negatively impacted how we finished up the season. But you know, winning 11 games in the very tough Seminole District, and then playing in the Region 3C tournament against some really good competition, we feel very, very fortunate and just thankful to be able to have this opportunity to compete in a very strong region.
Now, Coach, a lot of stuff new this year. First of all, we look at the VHSL now. When the numbers and enrollment came out, they wanted to put you in Class 2, but you said, no, we want to stay in Class 3. If you could talk a little bit about the decision behind that, because you did have opportunity to play down, but you feel your best strength is playing in Class 3.
Yeah. Honestly, Jermaine, we just think that for the good of everybody, we're such a unicorn, and we understand that, you know, being the only private school in the VHSL, that, you know, going down, our enrollment is truly somewhat declining and has really been on the border between 2 and 3 ever since we've been in the VHSL. But now we are solidly a Class 2 team, or enrollment-wise. But, you know, we really enjoy the relationships playing in Seminole District, which is a 3 and a 4A division, or district, I should say. And we really felt like in no way demeaning the division or Class 2 teams that we would play against, but we just feel like if we have a choice to play up against the larger schools, at least at this time, we feel that it's just best for everybody. There may be a day, you know, when our numbers continue to drop and whatever, that we may say, you know, playing in 2 will be best for everybody. But right now, we just really like the great competition that the Seminole District offers and Class 3.
And Coach, overall, I mean, another new thing is you're getting your own stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, years
Praise
played
God.
at Williams Stadium.
Yeah.
Years you played at Williams Stadium, and
Right.
it's a great facility. But obviously, when you look at it, if you have a big crowd, it still feels kind of, you know, wide open.
That's right.
But this year, you get your own stadium. So the official is it going to be Liberty Christian Stadium? Do you have an official title?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're taking it one day at a time. I mean, there's things that are going to happen in this first year of existence that we're going to have to figure out as we go along. You know, we've never had our own stadium. As you said, you know, it was a great privilege to be able to play at a college stadium for sure. But in reality, it was like we played every game away. I mean, we had to transport equipment over and you know, to put, you know, a 4,000 seat crowd from a high school football game in a 25,000 seat stadium just really didn't give you that real high school atmosphere that we all hope to get and hope to experience on a Friday. But hopefully now we'll have a 4,000 seat stadium. You put 4,000 people in there. People are elbow to elbow and emotions get going. I mean, we really think it'll be a great venue for high school football.
And then you mentioned the fact that you guys are pretty much going to take it up to your first home game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's getting close, but you feel confident you'll have it ready by then.
Yeah, it'll be ready. There might be some, you know, nails and cement block walls in the locker room to hang your clothes on, but you know, it'll be ready, and you know, we're really looking forward to just being able to have that for our kids and for the local teams to come in and be able to play in a regular high school environment, you know, so it'll be fun.
Now, Coach, looking at your schedule, you only have 9 games, and we talked about earlier you had a game that got canceled.
Right.
But 8 of your 9 games are against playoff opponents, and probably when you look at right out the gate, a matchup that everybody's probably looking at. You visit Salem State and play the Salem Spartans, but overall that schedule's stout. But you still a ways away from your first game, but it's got to be neat. First time you guys have played each other. That's got to be a neat first game right there.
Yeah, we really were hopeful that game might have been our first game in our new stadium. As we talked back and forth between the two schools, it just didn't work out that way, and so for us to come and play at Salem will be a great opportunity for our kids to just see how we stack up against obviously one of the premier teams in the area year in and year out. But 8 playoff teams on a 9-game schedule. I mean, we're going to go through the grinder for sure.
And then overall, like I said, you're at Salem, you get a bye. Then your first game at the new stadium against Franklin County.
Right.
And then you host Amherst County to get district play going. You're at Heritage, you get another bye. You have Rustburg, Liberty Christian on the road, hosting EC Glass, at Brookville, hosting Jefferson Forest. So just the Seminole District alone is a gauntlet, but you stepped up in weight class again when you look at your non-district schedule. But for you guys to have the success you expect to have, Coach, what do you think will be the key for the LCA Bulldogs, Liberty Christian, to make the run they want to make?
I'm sure as you interview all the coaches in your viewing area, they're all going to tell you if we can stay healthy, you can maybe make a run at things. And I think that is definitely our answer. Our numbers in our school are a little bit down. We only have 30-some kids on our varsity football team. We feel we have some good competitive kids, but you get your number one guy roll an ankle or sprain this or sprain that, you're basically putting a JV kid in his place. So if we can't stay healthy, our level of play and our quality, unfortunately, I think will drop drastically. So to play that gauntlet of a schedule with young puppy dogs that aren't battle tested, that will be tough. But if we stay healthy, I think we're going to be able to stay in the hunt and make it interesting the whole year long.
Coach, you've been in this game for a while. I got to ask you, for you personally, Frank Rocco, what does Friday nights in the fall mean to you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it's what it's all about. I've been blessed to be able to coach college for a little bit, and certainly there's great experiences there and great memories and what have. But this age group, working with young men that are 15 to 17 years old, they're at that stage in their lives where they're impressionable, and if you as a coach or teacher or whatever really have a heart for kids and you want to make an impact on kids, we look at using our sport as a tool more than anything to just help our kids grow to be warriors, and in this world today, I mean, you need to be a warrior to go out and contend with what the world is offering. So we think football is the greatest laboratory for that, and so I'm loving every day doing the job that I do. The Friday Night Lights is tremendous. People like yourself that bring highlight to that. I mean, we couldn't do it without what you guys do. So thank you so much for Friday Night Blitz and all that you guys do.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your kind words. One final thing, who are some of the players we should have our eyes on your team this year?
Yeah, probably our most noteworthy player is named Gideon Davidson. He's a rising junior. He's already committed to Clemson. He's a running back, defensive back, and he's the real deal. He's as good a football player as I've ever been around at the high school level. And we've been blessed to have him, from his, we used to watch him in elementary school gym class and say, that kid's gonna be rare someday. And sure enough, to be able to have him on our team is a real blessing. And then Easton Ware is a big offensive and defensive lineman and is also a junior. We think he's got some really high ceiling ahead of him. And we have a quarterback that's a little scat back type of kid, but he's a leader and a good thrower. His name's Jeb Moon. He's a good track kid as well. So our junior class, we really feel, has a really good nucleus. And then our senior class has some kids in it that we feel blending those two classes together, we'll be able to be competitive against everybody.
But Coach, It's always a pleasure hanging out with you,
Yeah, man.
talking football as
Yeah.
well. And thanks for your kind words earlier,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir. Thank
Good
you.
deal.
Mike.
Of course, we're here with Coach Frank Rocco, the Liberty Christian Bulldogs. They get the season started August 25th at the Salem Spartans. And of course, we're not done. We're going to have more Friday Night Blitz media days as we get you ready for the 2023 season.
How do you feel going into your junior year?
I feel very confident. Our team's ability, still powerhouse, always running the ball.
How do you feel like that powerhouse mentality has kind of built up over the last few seasons?
Well, we've always had like a dominant offensive line. I'd argue the best offensive line in Seminole District for a continued amount of years. And it's always been Frank Rocco's philosophy. You pound them hard and you'll win the games.
Yeah, every time I watch a Liberty Christian Academy game, it's always like you guys are so good up front. Do you feel like you've gotten better over your time? I mean, how do you feel like you are a different player compared to, like, let's say, 8th grade or your freshman year?
Yes, sir. So my freshman year, I got to be mentored by Zach Rice, so he poured in a lot. Also having Coach Braxton coming from Virginia Tech. Also this year, we're having a new coach coming in also from Virginia Tech, Coach Grove. He's both phenomenal coaches. I'd say the best coaches in Virginia. But yeah, so I've improved significantly. I came from my freshman year, barely getting any playing time on the varsity level, to coming and starting my sophomore year. Yes, sir.
You guys are stealing talent from Blacksburg. So, how do you feel like your mentality has gotten better over the last few seasons? Obviously, a lot of confidence building over the last couple of years. How do you feel like you've built up the confidence now going into your junior year?
It's gone up a lot. A lot of it is like in the weight room, like having the confidence to like push the weight around, being able to like push yourself through. Like you're gonna go through struggles, not gonna get the lift, but you just need to have a lot of mental toughness to continue when it's hard. You don't want to work, but Coach Pribble has done a lot of good job pushing you and knowing how to get your work out of you, even if you don't want to work.
Your teammate here couldn't really remember how last season ended because he says he blacked out.
Yeah.
What do you remember from that region final?
It was a tough game, but definitely Heritage came prepared. We were prepared. We came out fighting, and at the end of the day, they had the better hand.
Is it fueling you guys though going into this year? Because you guys have gone on deep runs before, obviously.
Yes, sir.
How is last year's loss fueling you guys going to this year?
It's definitely fueling me a lot just because me and Terrell Washington, they're defensive linemen. Me and him are kind of rivals. We always went back and forth in the games. So he's gone this year, which that's going to take a big loss. But I think that us coming in from the Heritage loss is going to push us even farther compared to the year before when we lost in the state finals. But this year, I think we want it more.
Taking a step back, talking about you as a football player, how did you fall in love with the sport?
I started playing when I was very young. I think around 5 or 6. I started flag football, and ever on since I've played.
What was it about the game that kind of kept you going?
So my dad played in college, and so he's kind of had a strong influence in my life, just keep going through it. And I just fell in love with the process.
What's your dad's name?
Craig Ware. He played at Arkansas State University.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
Very nice, very nice. How's he been like a mentor for you in this journey?
So he's been, especially now lately, he's been helping like manage a lot of my time wisely. Like I want to go do that stuff, but he'll just remind me, keep me on track. Like, hey, you need to do this to get to the next level. And he's always there to like have a backbone on like the structures you need to do to be great in the game.
Talked about being busy this summer, doing a lot of traveling, doing some visiting. Tell me about the process, the recruiting process, how that's going for you so far.
It's going super good. Getting a lot of recognition from the colleges, so that's been good. A lot of traveling, going to different camps, going on visits.
Any names in mind, or you want to keep that to yourself?
I got to keep that to myself.
Okay, that's
Yes,
fine.
sir. Yes, sir.
To be able to play at the next level, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's more of finding a team that's going to help me better me as a player, not just on the field, but they're going to set me up for life after football.
So when you're having those conversations, there's a lot of that trying to figure out stuff that not just on the field, but a fit off the field as well.
Yes, sir.
So now you're going into this junior year. What are some of the goals that you guys have been kind of talking about? Obviously, trying to do better than last year and trying to go deeper, but anything else that you guys really want to work on?
I really want to work on just winning, focusing on every single game like it's a championship game. You prepare for every game like it's your last game, and you play as hard as you can all 4 quarters.
How do you do that?
A lot of off work in the season, like preseason, right after season is when the work starts getting hard. That's when the work should be harder. A lot of lifting goes into it, a lot of therapy, a lot of like mental stuff. You need to start studying the game right as the season ends. Start studying your like first game opponents, getting ready for that.
Got this new stadium you're about to go into. I mean, how cool is that? I feel like you had this love affair with Williams Stadium because it was this bigger stadium. But how cool is it to have kind of one that's your own?
It'll definitely be cool. It'll definitely feel like a lot more like fan presence because Liberty Stadium's pretty big, so it feels a lot more spaced out. But it's gonna be a lot cool because the fans are gonna be like, on the field with you.
Have you kind of thought about what that's going to be like to ride out onto that field?
Yes, sir. I think it's gonna be very like energetic. I think it's gonna bring a lot more like hype to our players.
Do you feed off of that a lot? I mean, again, I know that it was kind of harder for you guys to do that at Williams Stadium, but is that something that you feed off of on Friday nights?
I'd say definitely because if you're like, you can definitely tell momentum's going for like one team or the other. But like when you're on your home field, your fans are cheering for you. You know, you just get all like the hype, all the sound. It just like it goes into you, and you just get like a nice little goosebump feeling. It just hypes you up even more.
One question on Coach Rocco: just what's he been like as a coach for you?
He's been a great coach, a great mentor. Definitely one of the smartest people I've ever known. One of the most godly-like men I've ever known.
It's very. I mean,
Dude.
I don't know. Is he taller than you? Or?
No, sir. I got him
Everyone's
on
tall
that.
to me.
Yes,
so.
sir.
Any specific pieces of advice that maybe he's given you, football or otherwise?
It's definitely don't do what like you want to do, but like do what like God wants you to do. Like live a godly life, not what you want to do.
Very cool. What would satisfy you this season? Like if X happens, you'd be really happy with that.
If we, that's a good question. You know, state ring would be nice.
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just first off, how do you feel going into your I was about to say final year. I've been doing a lot of these already. Your junior season at LCA.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready for what the season holds for us. Excited to have fun with my friends and go out there, do our best.
Take me back there last year, just like your thoughts about how the season went overall.
I think we had our ups and downs during the season. I think overall we were pretty solid and did our best, of course, but we ended on a kind of sad note. Kind of not what we were hoping for, but I'm excited for this next season, what it has to hold for us. So.
Yeah, take me back to that region final. What do you remember from that game?
Honestly, I don't really remember much. I was just kind of zoned in the whole time, kind of blacked out a little bit, but.
Hopefully, maybe not do that next time.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you guys were doing well towards the end of the season that you guys can really build off of going into this year?
I think, just the connection between, like, us as a team. Like, as friends, we got pretty close towards the end of the season. And I think we could, like, use that to our advantage, just use what we have with each other and kind of build off our strengths.
Tell me about your off season, because I feel like every time the season ends, you guys just like don't waste time and get into the weight room and stuff like that. What have you been working on specifically?
Just strength and speed for me mainly. I've been doing a lot of like multitasking with track and football, so just trying to balance that.
That's right.
For me.
I think I remember you were on track. I might have seen you actually over
Yeah.
How was your track season?
It was great. So indoor won states in the 4x2. Placed in the 200 for outdoor, and I don't really remember what else I did. I went to indoor and outdoor nationals, so indoor nationals in New York, Oregon for outdoor. So
how do you feel like the success you're having on the track can translate onto the success you can have on the field, especially in terms of building confidence too?
Yeah, I think like for confidence, track just helps with that a lot, just because the opportunities I've been given with that, being able to go to these big places to be able to run in front of people. So I think like when it comes to big moments in football games, I won't crumble because I'll be prepared.
Let's talk about you as just a football player. How did you fall in love with the sport of football?
Very young age. Started playing when I was 5. And just loved it ever since. So.
How did you get into the quarterback role though?
It was kind of a weird thing. I just like when I was younger, just threw the ball a lot, and just the coaches when I was younger just put me there, and it ended up working. So
yeah, you clearly have had some success. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here as a quarterback. What was it about that position that kind of kept you going in that position?
I think it's like the technical stuff with it, just very technical position. I like working on my craft and stuff. So
Yeah, how do you feel like you can get better as a quarterback? Because obviously there's a lot of decision making, there's a lot of mental stuff you have to go through.
just like watching the game and learning what you can from people around you.
Are you guys in your new stadium this year, or is it?
We will be.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's that like? I mean, because you guys have had the pleasure of being at Liberty Stadium, which is pretty cool, but what's it like to kind of have your own thing?
I think it's going to be really nice because it's a place we can call home, and we can build something there. So
It's a somewhat bittersweet, I guess. I mean, any memories from playing at Williams Stadium that kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, I like the Bassett game and all that, the Heritage games and stuff. It's like just being in the stadium with all the seats and stuff is fun.
Yeah, it's really funny how I talk to a lot of Lynchburg schools, and it's always the jug bowl between EC Glass and Heritage. But you guys have kind of developed this other rivalry in the Hill City with Heritage. How has that kind of developed over your time?
It kind of built a while before I kind of came up through, and it's just been back and forth ever since.
So now you look toward your senior year. I'm sorry, your junior year. Again, I've done like 6 of these already. Your junior year, and just what are the kind of goals you guys have going into this year?
Do better than what we did last year. Stay strong throughout the whole season. Don't let up, and be our best.
Well, all that really gets going during camp. So tell me about how intense camp is going to be over the next couple of weeks.
It'll be pretty intense. Our coaches are always going to be on us and helping us out and trying to make us better.
And we think offensively, and I know we talked a little bit about the strengths you guys have going into next year, but offensively, what do you feel like you guys can really work on? Like, what's at the top of your list during camp?
Just working on building our passing game and running game even more than what we have.
Do you like the weapons that you feel like you're going to have this year?
Yes, sir.
What do you think is going to set you guys apart from the rest of the good old Seminole district?
I'd say just our O-line helping us with the run game and stuff. They help us out a lot. So
you'd be satisfied with how the season goes if what happens?
I don't know. I'm down for a state championship, but
Okay.
yeah.